Welcome all to my YouTube channel Shweta Gupta Chemistry Classes. As we are doing the chapter 2 of class 12 chemistry solutions, the topic we'll be doing today is process of solubility of a solid in a liquid and what are the factors that affect the solubility of a solid in a liquid. So, if we take a container, a glass, and in that glass we put a fixed amount of water. So this is the solvent molecule, and the first step of the process of solubility of a solid in a liquid is to continuously add a solid solute. So the solute sugar particles will take place in between. So first thing, will continuously add a solid solute to the solvent, and when you add the solid solute to the solution, with the increase in the number of particles of the solid solute, that is the sugar particles in the solvent, the concentration of the solution increases. This process is known as dissolution. So two steps we have done. Next one is, now what will happen? Some solute particles after some time, some solute particles will move out of the solution and will collect here and will form crystals. This process is known as crystallization. What I have told you, some will move inside the water molecule, and some particles from inside the water molecules, or which have occupied the space between the water molecule, will move out. They will move out and crystals will form. This process is known as crystallization. So first thing is adding of solute to the solvent, second is dissolution, third is crystallization. Fourth one, then after some time a stage is reached when rate of dissolution becomes equal to rate of crystallization, that is the number of sugar crystals or the solute particles going into the solvent will be equal to the number of sugar particles moving out of the solvent and forming the out of the solution and forming the crystal. That is, number of particles dissolving will be equal to number of particles moving out of the solution, that is forming the crystals. So here the rate of dissolution will be equal to rate of crystallization, and this state is known as state of dynamic equilibrium. So first one, solute will add solute into solvent. Second one, concentration of solute in solvent increases, that is dissolution. Next, crystals get separated out, that is crystallization. Fourth is rate of dissolution becomes equal to rate of crystallization. Fifth, now after the attainment of state of dynamic equilibrium, you cannot add more amount of sugar into this solution. So this solution is then known as saturated solution at a given temperature and pressure. Thus you can find out how much amount of sugar you have added in solvent and can find out the solubility of a solution. I just hope this topic is clear. First step is this one, second dissolution, third is crystallization, fourth is rate of dissolution is equal to rate of crystallization, fifth is state of dynamic equilibrium, no more solute can be dissolved, sixth is saturated solution is formed, and seventh is concentration of solute in a solution is known as its solubility. Next topic is, what are the factors that affect the solubility of a solid in a liquid? वो कौन कौन से चीज़ें हैं which are affecting the solubility of a solid in a liquid? So first one is the nature of solute and the solvent. You know, we have added sugar particles into the water molecule. So sugar, it will depend upon the nature of the solute particles and the nature of the solvent particles, whether the solute is soluble in a given solvent or not. Now, in a class, generally in a classroom, a shaitan bacha wants to sit with the shaitan bacha, that is a naughty child want to sit with a naughty child, and in the same way quiet child will like to sit with a quiet child. So we can say that like dissolves like. It is on the basis of a liking. So the same concept is applied in case of solutions also. If the solute is polar, then it will dissolve in polar solvent. If the solute is non-polar, then it will dissolve in non-polar solvent. Nature of solute and solvent should be same. If here, like you can see the example, solute. If NaCl is a solute, it is a polar. It is polar in nature because chlorine is electronegative, as a result of which dipoles will be created, will tend to attract the shared pair of electrons towards it, and thus dipoles are created. So this is a polar compound. In the same way, in water also oxygen is electronegative in nature, so it will tend to attract the shared pair of electron, due to which there will be creation of dipoles. So it is also polar. As a result of it, these two are polar. So this polar solute NaCl will be dissolved in polar solvent, that is water only. In the same way, non-polar solute like naphthalene and anthracene will be dissolving in non-polar solvent like benzene. Now, as I've told you earlier, there will be intermolecular interactions between the solute-solute, solute-solvent and solvent-solvent molecules, due to which the solute particles will be soluble in a given solvent. So, as you know, you have added sugar. So, all the sugar particles are friends. In the same way, there are water molecules. All the water molecules are also friends. So there is molecular interaction between water molecule. There is molecular interaction between water molecule. Now, what you have done, you have added this to this. As a result of which, what will happen? These bonds will break. These bonds will break and new bond will be formed. So AB bond will be formed. So there are three types of interactions that you can see in a solution. Solute, that is sugar particle, there will be bond, and between water molecule there will be bond. If sugar particles are AA, then AA bond. If water particles are B, then BB bond. And the new bond, the new friendship which is between water and sugar is AB bond. So these are the type of interactions that are seen in case of solutions. Next is effect of temperature. You all know Le Chatelier's principle, everything opposite is going to happen in that. So if in a nearly saturated solution you take, when there is almost no probability of addition of further more solute to a given solvent, then in a nearly saturated solution, if you want to add more solute, then on that what will be the effect of temperature? Suppose on dissolving, there is the container become cold, then the process of dissolution is endothermic because heat is absorbed, so it is endothermic. Here delta H solubility is greater than 0. Now the solubility, as I have told you, heat is absorbed, the container is cold, temperature is low. So when the temperature is low, solubility will increase opposite with the rise in temperature according to Le Chatelier's principle. In the same way, if dissolution process is exothermic, heat is released, so temperature is also high, so reverse of that will happen. So now the solubility will increase with the decrease in temperature. So if the dissolution is exothermic, solubility will increase with decrease in temperature because already there was very high temperature. And if the dissolution process is endothermic, the solubility will increase with less temperature with the rise. So solubility will increase with rise in temperature. So all these two concepts can be explained on the basis of Le Chatelier's principle. Next is effect of pressure. There is no significant effect of pressure on solubility because you are adding solid into a liquid. And if you, this is the glass of water, and if you add here sugar particles and if you apply pressure, then there will be it will be of no use because neither the liquid particles nor the solid particles are compressible. Neither water is compressible nor sugar particles are compressible. So you cannot increase the solubility on increasing the pressure. So practically there is no effect of pressure on solubility of a solid in a liquid. Thank you and have a nice day.